Hello, everypony! Welcome back to another episode of Elements of Story. I was planning to do a review of another episode, but, after that interesting season finale, I'm holding off for, creative reasons. So instead, I've decided to delve into a different kind of subject. My top 5 least favorite and disliked episodes of MLP. Why only 5? Well, here's the thing. I'm only picking episodes that have made me feel actual negative emotions towards them, to the point I will not ever watch them more than once. Episodes that make me uncomfortable, angry, heavily confused, and in extreme cases, actual hatred. There are many episodes in MLP that I consider just kind of boring, and that doesn't really qualify as a bad episode. I can still watch something a little boring and enjoy enough of it to either give the whole episode a second viewing, or at least most of it with some minor skipping. That is not the case for the top 5 I present. I will outright refuse to watch these episodes again. I'd like to state right now that I mean absolute no offense to anyone who enjoys the following episodes. If you enjoy them for one reason or another, then good on you for seeing things differently than I do. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. Before we begin, let's start things off with some honorable mentions. These episodes have problems, but not enough of them to keep me from enjoying them to some extent. Spike at your service. To be honest, I had reservations of even putting this in honorable mentions. To me, it's not as horrible as others claim. Yeah, I agree. Spike's characterization is lost, and it is annoying when writers dumb down a character for the sake of the plot. But he comes around full circle at the climax, and Applejack's character was on point and enjoyable. I mean, this moment alone makes up everything wrong for me.
Ah!
The Cutie Remark, Part 2. There is a lot I want to discuss with this episode. But that is for another day. Have patience, my viewers. A reckoning shall come. Finally, the mysterious mare duel. Luna, damn you, fiery joker! Damn you to Tartarus! This used to be a hated episode of mine, the pinnacle of why Rainbow Dash was my least favorite main 6. But then you come around and ruin it. This was going to be on the list, but then you had to go and make me see things in a different way and make me change my mind. And then to rub more salt into the wounds, you came up with a decent way to fix the episode, make me agree with you, and then I actually watched it again with a new perspective that made me like it a little. I hope you're happy with yourself, sir. I hope you're happy. Alright, I'm good. With that tantrum out of the way, let's get to the real list. Number 5. Appaloosa's Most Wanted. Okay, so I'm kind of breaking my own rules. I know I said I wouldn't consider any episodes that were kind of boring a bad episode. But this episode is just so boring. It doesn't make me angry or uncomfortable. It's just really dull. I'd rather watch the honorable mentions in a row than see this again. The very small saving grace that this episode has is the Brayburn scenes, and that one mob joke. They got at least a giggle out of me, but it's not enough to warrant a second viewing. So, sorry Appaloosa's Most Wanted, but unless I'm having trouble going to sleep, I'm just gonna skip on past ya. Number 4. Swarm of the Century. Where Most Wanted bored me, this episode just annoyed me, 'cause there is one thing they needed to do to fix it. Just one thing. Pinkie Pie freaking explains herself. That's all that needed to happen. You can argue, oh, but then the episode would be over before it started. Really? 'Cause I think all it would take would be for, let's say, Fluttershy to say to Pinkie,
Oh, I'm sure nothing as cute as these creatures could ever be dangerous, Pinkie. Just look at them. They're so sweet. Well, just you wait, Fluttershy. These creatures may seem cute, but overnight they'll become a horrible, ugly mess of destruction. So if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go find a banjo.
That would fix so much. 'Cause then Pinkie would not be part of the problem, and then Twilight's lesson at the end would hold more merit. But no, She's just as much at fault for not saying anything, which in turn makes the lesson a poorly presented one. There were at least some things entertaining, but otherwise it's that little detail that makes it too aggravating to give a second viewing. Number 3. Ponyville Confidential. Ho ho ho, we are getting to the nitty-gritty now, folks. Now I thought this was going to be just another cute CMC episode, which I love. Aw, they're so cute. And at first it is, until we get to the second half of it. I hate how it ends so much, 'cause the main 6 are being portrayed as huge hypocrites. At first, they are praising Gabby Gums, with only Twilight speaking out, feeling sorry for those being slandered, but still admitting that she enjoys the article, thus rendering her concern not taken as seriously. The rest of the main 6 even defend the column, saying it's not mean, it's just harmless gossip, and that ponies should be happy to have exposure. But as soon as they are targeted, now Gabby Gums has gone too far and they need to take action. So the truth comes out that it's all the CMC. And what do the main 6 do? They shut them out in every possible way. Could you all be any more childish?
But Heather Feathersong, they have a right to be angry, don't you think?
No, I don't. Because this is equally their fault. We see that the CMC are feeling bad about what they are saying about other ponies, and they even attempt to do other stuff to make up for it, and yet they keep going. Do you know why? Because no pony has voiced any displeasures or complaints. I mean, come on. This small school newspaper article makes it to Canterlot and Cloudsdale. They've gotten huge exposure, received only compliments and little to no complaints. All in all, are being portrayed as a huge success, with ponies defending them against the few who are concerned. And even then, the aforementioned concern still read it and admit to enjoying it. They know they're doing something wrong, but everyone around them doesn't tell them that until they seemingly go too far, and then no one responds to them in the proper way. They should have talked to them, said they were disappointed, but also have noted their own faults in the situation, that they should have stopped this as soon as it got too personal. In the end, it's the CMC who do the right thing, even though they were not completely at fault, apologizing for their actions, but in return, no one apologizing back to them for not stepping in from the very beginning. A town full of hypocrites. Welcome to Ponyville. Passive aggression is magic. Number 2. Feeling Pinky Keen. I debated on even putting on this list, because my reasons for disliking it are very, very personal. While the others, including my first pick, make me feel annoyance due to character misinterpretation, this one just makes me uncomfortable. Let me just say, I will give kudos to this episode for introducing the unique ability the Pinky sense. I like it and it adds to her character. I also really enjoyed the callback to classic cartoon humor. But that's about all I like here. It's no secret that many have picked up on religious-based undertones, myself included. You see, I'm agnostic. I'm still spiritual and am open-minded to possibilities. I just don't believe or follow an organized religion. But so what? It's just a cartoon, right? Yes, that is very true. I know they aren't being offensive, and that's just what makes this very hard and makes me feel like I'm being unfair. Because my entire reasons for disliking the episode is not because of the episode itself, but because it's too close to home to past personal experiences. I have unfortunately had people try to convert me, people telling me to read the Bible because God is not forgiving, that no matter how good of a person you are, that if you don't believe or go to church or follow his teachings, you will go to hell. I've had co-workers, classmates, people online, and even distant family members say this to me. Not an overwhelming amount, mind you, but these are people I had to deal with on a daily basis. And the dialect Pinky uses is just so close to what has been said to me that I shut down so as not to become triggered. Twilight's actions also rub me the wrong way. It is equally wrong to try to disprove another's belief and faith just for the sake of feeling you're right. If someone's beliefs is not hurting you personally, then you have no business to denounce them for it. There's really nothing heavily wrong with the episode when it comes to executions. It is just the first season, so of course there will be nothing groundbreaking. My problem is that it's too similar to what I have experienced, and I again feel bad about ranking it so high due to more or less my own personal issues. But I can't ignore on how much I will avoid this episode, even minor discussion involving it. In fact, I say this now, I will not ever do a review of it. I in the end feel just really silly in taking this so personally, but I can't help that I do. Thus, why it's here. But in the very least, I in good conscience could not make this number one, though it came close. However, luckily, with my number one pick, there's only one thing I like about it. The song. Number 1. Bats. Damn it! Just damn it! Why does an episode starring Applejack have to be my personal worst? Yes, this is my least favorite episode. The only thing I like is the song because it reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas. Otherwise, everything else sucks. And again, I don't mean to offend you if you like this episode, but I'm sorry. I just don't get how people can defend this. I've seen people say that Applejack should have listened to Fluttershy because she's the animal expert, even though Fluttershy clearly states she has no experience dealing with these kind of creatures, so her expertise is useless. People have also said Twilight was immoral in using a brainwash spell that could make the bats starve. They are fruit bats, as in they'll eat all kinds of fruit. If they really get hungry, they can just leave to find other food that isn't apples. But my overall grievance is with Fluttershy. She claims their presence will only be beneficial as they spit out the seeds and will make more trees. Now in the past, I claimed it takes many decades for that to benefit, but with more and more proof that earth ponies do have the ability to make plants grow faster, I have conceded that factor. However, this would still only produce too much work that apple families should be able to handle. See this? This is a picture of an apple orchard. And now here's Sweet Apple Acres. What do you see? Evenly spaced trees. Farmers don't just plant seeds willy-nilly. They organize and make sure a plant has enough room for their roots to spread and not affect other plants around them. If these trees really do grow so fast, then that means the apple family is going to have to go through back-breaking work to check on every tree sprout as quick as they can so that each one gets proper nutrients without the risk of harming others. And those bats are spitting out tons of seed, so that's a lot of work. Fluttershy to me is way more in the wrong. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I could be biased because of Applejack being my favorite. But even then, I still feel this episode is flawed because of little to no character interaction between the two that it's supposed to star. And the ending lesson about peer pressure just feels lost. If anything, I feel this should have been about compromise, a lesson you can't teach enough. It was taught before, but in that situation, both parties got what they wanted. Here, we could have had a scenario where Applejack and Fluttershy do not get what they want. There will be times in life you will have to make sacrifices for the greater good, and that should have been displayed here. Plus, I feel it would have been really cool to see two ponies we don't see interact much have exposure. But then no Flutterbat! I don't care about Flutterbat! Personally, I feel that was strange and out of place to begin with. Overall, there's just too much that I hate about this episode, and so it has won its place as my most disliked episode of MLP. Well, that was almost therapeutic. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Believe it or not, this was really fun to work on. And it has me curious. What are your least favorite episodes? Would you like me to tackle this topic again with a different series? Or perhaps my top favorites? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, it's time to wrap things up. Special thanks to Lightning Bliss for drawing my background. Thank you so much for the awesome commission. There's a link to her DA page in the description below. Her rates are very reasonable, so look her up. I'm Heather Feathersong, and as always, remember, in fiction, you are never wrong. You just see things differently than the person next to you. So always keep your mind open like an open book. Till next time!